She said, no, it's a superstition in my family. Instantly, it made sense to me. And it was so good. I had to hop on to tell you the most beautiful story of the most gorgeous, warm, balmy night that I had recently with incredible community members, surrounding food, beautiful NA cocktails, and the vibe was just so good. Hi love, I'm Krystal, your ease mentor and big sis, and the creator of the Me for Us channel, where we explore bridging all the benefits and beauty of self-care practices into community care and connection. So if you know anything about Midwest summers, they are fleeting, my friend. They go by so fast, and here we are already late summer, and I recently reminded myself that I have to be so intentional with how I use the rest of these summer days. A bucket list of sorts for the late summer months. Hiking, biking, swimming, farmers market, concerts, and so much more. And speaking of, I had on my radar to attend one of these communal dining events that they're hosting around town. It's this new summer series that they're doing through Sante Supper Club. And they gather amazing community members from local chefs to a spirit-free bar in town that sells all non-alcoholic drinks, to also inviting local activist groups. And we all come together over a long table set up in the most gorgeous of settings around town to commune, to dine, and to feed the resistance, which is the name of the series. It just sounded like it hit all the notes. Connection, food, beauty, all my favorite things. And sure enough, my sister ends up asking me, hey, I got some tickets to the next supper club event. Do you want to come? And I'm just like, I've literally been wanting to go, manifested. This is amazing. Flash forward to this night. We arrive at the Mexican-owned coffee shop in town. It is so cute. It is so delicious. And next door, they have this big open lot. And so once you arrive, you end up seeing this long, beautiful table with handcrafted tablecloths made by the activist organization that was there that night, and decor, candles, flowers, beautiful colorful textures against this just golden warm sunset light. You see smiling faces of everyone there. Some people know each other, some people don't. Just like anybody, I get a little nervous because I don't know a lot of the people there, but I did know some of the people, which were just beautiful, familiar faces that I loved being able to see in a new context. So not only was it a vibe, but we also got to cook with the chef. His name was Jorge Hernandez, and he's the head chef at Flying Pig at Central Via 25 on the west side of Cleveland, which is a new food hall concept that is so good, so good. You got to go visit it if you're local. So it's one thing to just go to a dinner, sit down, and have the meal. This was not that. This was interactive and had such a beautiful flow for the night. We got to have a NA cocktail from Verbena Free Spirited and Flourish, who collaborate on the event. And then there was some fresh ceviche and fresh chips made. Once we were done with that, we got to go over and make Chef Hernandez his favorite guacamole recipe by hand together as a group. He had these 4 huge mortar and pestles, and he called it something different. He said that from the part of Mexico that he's from, they're actually made of volcanic rock, and these were made of a different material, but they were like this big with a huge pestle. And so we made the guacamole recipe where we ground down the garlic and the onion nice and fresh and added in the rest of the ingredients. It was literally the best guacamole I've ever had. So we went back and enjoyed that. We got to go back and cook a fresh white mole, which I've never had a white mole, especially made so fresh. Oh my gosh. It was delicious. Coming together around a shared food experience with a cause attached to it is just literal food for the soul. In addition to the NA cocktails, the restaurant, the beautiful setting at Dahlia's, there was also a local organization called Young Latino Network that works with the Latino community to educate and protect the democratic process in the local community. They have such incredible programming. I immediately signed up to get involved. So just sharing about this experience would be enough. I just am beaming about it still, and this was weeks ago. Here's where the depth of the community experience really dropped in. We went back to the tables to enjoy the main meal, and it was so good. And as everybody is serving from the communal dishes, the woman next to me asked, do you want me to serve you on the plate, or do you want to serve yourself? And I said, go ahead and pass it over. I was going to serve myself. Soon after, a woman across the table who happens to be a very well-known Mexican-American burlesque dancer in town, Bellison, she said, no, don't pick up the communal plate. You come to the family plate. It's a superstition in my family that you don't pick up the plate to move it. You come to it and let your family and community serve you from that plate. Instantly, it made sense to me. And it was something I really wanted to respect. And what's also so interesting about this to me is why I chose in the first place to serve myself. Now, on one hand, that's a perfect example of cross-cultural interaction, where I'm not from a Mexican lineage. I am from another Latin American lineage from Venezuela, but each culture has different rituals and different practices. So this is a perfect example of honoring other people's traditions so that we can create even more sense of community. And even deeper than that is the deeply ingrained, I can do it all myself mindset that popped up for me. It's so gnarly and it runs so deep. I'm sure you can relate. But in that micro moment, in that micro decision, I was sacrificing connection with the other amazing people there in favor of doing it myself. In the place of self-sufficiency. There's a place and time for that, of course. Lord knows I can do that so well, but it wasn't the time for it. As much as we want to be a support to the community, we also have to let ourselves be supported in community as well. And that was the lesson that came out of it. And the coolest part about being open in that moment to that feedback is I will never forget that. That is something that I will take with me no matter what culture, no matter what country I'm in, no matter what table I find myself at, is the ritual of let someone serve you and you serve others. But don't you dare lift that communal plate. Now, as a self-reflective person, there were even more things that I took from this. Humility is necessary. When informed or corrected on a certain behavior, especially on something that's intrinsic to somebody else, and not to me, staying in a mindset and a place of learning and humility is really what helped me stay out of the defensive reaction and to see that in that moment, Bella was wanting to maintain connection with the group. It was an honoring of the collective that she was sharing that. And I'm so glad she did. Her cultural context was aiding the experience of the whole. And to be able to be open to that and receive the love and magic behind that is something I'll take with me forever. Something else I was reminded of is learning from other cultures is good for the soul. It enriches us. It reminds us of all the ways there are to be human and how to connect with each other, how we share food, break bread, how we connect, how we share stories, and how our presence is the most invaluable gift we can give each other. This is honestly why I love traveling. And when I'm not traveling, an amazing kind of life hack mindset trick that I like to do is approach my own hometown through the lens of what would it feel like if I were traveling here for the first time, effectively traveling in my own city. And this entire night, this entire experience was such a perfect example of how multicultural my city is. And you have to be open to the magic right under your nose. If you want more on this topic, definitely let me know. And the reminder of all reminders is if you want to get involved more with your local community and it feels daunting and you don't know where to start and it just feels a little overwhelming, manifest it. Remember that you can manifest it. It can come to you. The way that this all worked out was so beautiful, and it came from the heartfelt intention and feeling of I really want to experience that. This sounds amazing. It sounds right up my alley. The connection, the food, the beauty. And I don't drink, so events like that can be a bit of a barrier when there's so much alcohol centered at events like that. And this one, that's not a thing. And not only did I manifest the ticket, but I manifested it through my sister, who is literally the ideal person to go to something like this with. She's my favorite, and we have such a good time when we're together. And especially going to a supper club that centered Latin culture, Mexican culture specifically, it also was so meaningful for us when it comes to connecting with the Latin community, because we don't get to do a lot of that, and we definitely want to be doing that more as Latinas ourselves. Remember that energy magic works, and the power of your intention is everything for bringing to you what you want. And a quick little side note, if human design is on your radar at all, if you've done any exploring into it or are curious about it, I'm a projector in human design, and this kind of manifestation of sending out into the universe exactly what I want and then it just arriving to the most aligned people possible is such a gratifying experience and how the best people enter my life. If you're a human design nerd like me, let me know if you want me to go more into that. Hearing and sharing stories like this just connects me to the heart of it all, reminds me that I'm not alone, and uplifts my spirit like no other. If you want to hear more stories like this, right when they drop, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment below. Lastly, it is an age-old reminder that nothing beats in-person connection, especially when there's food involved. You know, it really is the smallest of moments that stand out to me when it comes to sitting around a table with people that I've known forever or new people and new faces. I'm calling so many more experiences like this into my life so that we can all be reminded of what community really feels like. We deserve that. Until next time, bye. Oh, girl, it's a hot one. So beautiful, but it's so hot. But it's so beautiful, but it's so hot. Anything for the pretty shot, though. Manifested.